Very good. All right, we ready to begin, Madam Clerk? All right, all right. I call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Borough of River Edge. May 30th, 2024, regular meeting at the River Edge Library and virtually on Zoom. In a moment, I ask you to stand and remember in your prayers all of our loved ones who have gone before us, those who are dear to us, especially our moms and dads, as we try to make them proud each and every day. Let's turn to the flag, ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have statement of compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 11th, 2024 of this location, date, and time to the town news and the record, and by posting the same on the municipal bulletin board and the borough website and filing notice of the same with the clerk. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Here.
Council President Monticello.
Here.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilwoman Larry is absent with prior notice. Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Watts.
Here.
Mayor Buckler.
Here. All right, so first item for us to take care of is approval of the minutes, item 5. Could I have a motion from any member of council and a second from another to approve the minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting of April 8th, 2024, and approve the meetings of the minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting and closed session, May 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. If you need to abstain from one of the others, you can do that. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I need to abstain from the May 13th session.
And do you have an aye for the April 8th?
I do, aye.
And I need to abstain for April 8th.
And you have an aye from,
I for May 13th.
very good. We're going to, I'm just gonna break up the order a little bit. We do have some presentations, but I think what we'll do is, without objection, move appointments and personnel changes,
Mhm.
swear people in, and then we'll go back to presentations. Is there any objection? Hearing none, it is so approved. So we're jumping to item number 8, appointment and personnel changes. Could I have a motion and second to approve the appointment of Priti Dawala for a 1-year term to expire 12/31/24, Teresa Esposito and Lori Esposito to a 2-year term to expire 12/31/25, and Michelle Caridi to a 3-year term to expire 12/31/26 to the Shade Tree Advisory Committee, May 30th, 2024. Can I also have approval to approve the appointment of Mayor Thomas Papaleo, Councilman Glass, and we need to change this to Councilwoman Lisa Montesano Cohen to the Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee effective May 30th, 2024. So that one would be moved as amended. And finally, approve the resignation of Cecilia Iriola, police dispatcher effective May 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second, and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Michelle, can we swear you in?
I'm great. Need to hold the Bible.
Hold the Bible.
So if you could stand right there. And actually, she's going to do, yeah, but either way, it's great. Okay. Yeah. Dash 24. Now let me do that there. Okay. So thank you for volunteering again, so many ways. You're a volunteering family. I really appreciate it. Let's make sure that I'm not blocking you. Good. Okay, Michelle, would you please repeat after me? I state your name.
I, Michelle Caridi,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I
and that I
will bear true faith
will bear
true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the government established
and to the government established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I state your name,
I, Michelle Caridi,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Shade Tree Advisory Committee
the Shade Tree Advisory Committee
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Oh, Michelle, I need for you to sign. My bad, I got it. Yes, I'm the witness.
Here you go.
Okay, we're going to begin the presentations in a minute. Councilwoman Kaufman, I think you're gonna recuse
Yes.
yourself for this portion. Thank you. Okay, so we have two presentations, and I don't know how we decided the order. I guess is how they came in. Very good. The presentations will be 15 minutes each with 5 minutes question and answers by the council. If the council needs a little bit more time, we can always grant them more. And it will be first Sweet Spot River Edge LLC and then followed by Neighborhood Greens. Could I have the representatives for Sweet Spot River Edge LLC please come up? You'll need to state your name, your address, and if you could, your role in, I believe, the company. And for all of you. And
Thank you.
and your time will begin after I recognize you, but if you could introduce, for the record, for the clerk, each of you state your name, address, and your role.
Surely. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Matthew Gilson from the law firm of Murphy, Schiller and Wilkes at 24 Commerce Street in Newark. I am the attorney for Sweet Spot River Edge LLC. Here with us tonight, they can introduce themselves, but also, but we're not be presenting, our landlord is here, Mr. White, and Brian Intindola from Neglia Engineering, who performed a traffic study and parking analysis, will be available for questions of the council, but since that's more of a land use issue, we're not going to call him as a witness.
Very good. Just if you could state again, you said, who will be on Zoom?
Oh, nobody's on Zoom.
You said there was one other person, landlord,
And Brian Intindola, he's here.
there it is, Brian. Okay, and he did the traffic study. Okay,
And then my name is Benjamin Herbst. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at Sweet Spot.
okay.
Blake Costa, I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Sweet Spot.
And my name's Ivan Tuckton. I'm a New Jersey, New York Western attorney, and I'm general counsel.
Okay, Ivan, I got you, but could you state your name? one more-
Blake Costa, sir.
Blake,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Do you mind if I use your first names?
Not at all.
Very good. All right. So we're not going to be absolutely rigid about the 15, but we do expect it to be 15. And if you go a little bit over, that's fine, but not a lot.
Understood. So I'm just gonna introduce for about a minute and then I'm gonna let Ben and
Okay?
Blake talk. But just for, we've all received our packets. We're the contract tenant of 74 Route 4 East, located in the cannabis overlay zone. We have frontage on Route 4 ingress and egress. We're in the possession of a conditional Class 5 license. We're ready to convert that license as soon as the council, if you were to look favorably upon our application. We have our land use application ready to file. We have our traffic study and parking study done. And it is our hope that if we are successful tonight, that we will be able to open by the end of the year. We're currently operating in 6 states, including New Jersey. We have over $24 million in funding, and we would love to be a part of your community. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ben for his portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Matthew.
Good evening, council. Again, my name is Ben Herbst and I'm the Chief Business Development Officer here at Sweet Spot. Sweet Spot's been in the cannabis industry for 6 years now. We have retail stores in 6 states, Rhode Island, Maryland, Maine, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Vermont, along with 1 cultivation and manufacturing facility in Rhode Island. Last year alone, we served over 300,000 cannabis transactions nationwide, and we've earned 4.9 out of 5 stars in every operational store across the country, both in Google and Weed Maps. We have a sterling relationship with the cannabis regulators and the municipalities we serve. We've even won 2 awards from municipalities we operate in, Exeter, Rhode Island, and Norwich, Connecticut. We've created over 130 jobs, each with full benefits and equity incentive packages. We are one of few companies in the cannabis industry to ever partner with federally funded universities. We have internship programs, we sit on sustainability boards, and we're in the process of setting up a partnership with Rowan in South Jersey for where we're building our cultivation facility. A quick note on the brand I'd like to mention. Many cannabis companies focus on serving the cannabis enthusiasts at the expense of the infrequent consumer with less familiarity in the market. We are not that kind of company. We pride ourselves on serving customers who are interested in cannabis, but may want a milder, more personalized experience. We stock a wide array of lower potency products most other brands ignore. We offer intro quizzes, starter kits with very small doses so customers can find the product that works for their needs. Our focus is to serve customers less typically associated with the cannabis use. Our median customer is female and over the age of 42 years old. Our customers don't want to get high, they want to get well. In New Jersey, we came in first place in the 2019 medical dispensary application out of 200 applicants. Out of the 30 license award winners by the state, we were the first to open our doors, showing that we have the know-how and experience to get dispensaries open quickly without disruption to the local community. We operate a successful hybrid dispensary in Voorhees, New Jersey that is profitable and has a strong track record of safe operation and compliance. We know the industry, but most importantly, we know the industry here in New Jersey, the market, the local consumer, and the New Jersey regulatory environment. We will put our experience to work to replicate the success of our Voorhees location here in River Edge. This will allow River Edge to capitalize on the job creation and tax revenue with the confidence that their chosen operator has a proven track record in the state and will succeed long-term. We are completely operationally prepared to launch this facility in River Edge. We've secured over $24 million to date to build a high-quality cannabis business and are financially prepared to execute the proposed plan. We've completed a site analysis and have finalized our building permit plans for this facility, and we are ready to execute immediately upon town approval. We've developed and continuously update our standard operating procedures that are compliant with regulations in each state and municipality. We have an industry-best security plan and worker safety plan. And we have a detailed good neighbor policy to ensure that we are receptive to any concerns from the members of the community. Before we go into detail about this location and how we would like to partner with River Edge, Blake, who's our Chief Operating Officer and Director of Safety and Security, is going to do a quick walkthrough of this is our location in Voorhees. So he's going to do a walkthrough of the location, how we plan to replicate it here in River Edge.
Thank you, Ben. Mayor Papaleo, members of the board. My name is Billy Casa. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Sweet Spot Brands. Overall, I'm accountable for all retail, safety, security, and construction operations within our company. My background, my 17-year military veteran with the U.S. Marine Corps and Army. During that time, I served as an embassy guard overseas from about 2008 to 11, worked in Iraq, Italy, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, and many European countries. I supported the Obama administration, securing hotels abroad. I've taken a lot of those lessons learned and skills I've adapted there and applied them to our security here in the cannabis sector. Additionally, I served as a combat medic, doing missions out in Haiti, supporting the Baltimore riots, and most recently the COVID missions in Rhode Island, where I was personally accountable for all the PPE acquisition or requisition and disbursements throughout the state in support of the state's COVID mission. As I'm sure you all are aware, those were crazy times for us. And lastly, I served as an intelligence officer doing physical security for all the Rhode Island Army National Guard physical assets that we have in place, writing security plans, implementing those policies and procedures. Additionally, I'm personally passionate about local government. I serve on my own community's planning board proudly, and I try to implement efficiencies where possible and give perspective from this side of the table. As you can see, we've done this quite a bit. What separates us from other companies is Ben talked about us having this funding, having 130 employees. It wasn't always like that. 7 years ago, it was Ben and I and our other partners who were up till 4 a.m. building our first grow in Rhode Island, trying to make this happen. Not coming from money, it was a difficult task with, using our own hands and maxing out our credit cards, but we made it work. And we brought it from 4 of us to 130 people. And we've done it successfully without any regulatory violations, any major security concerns, and never once an issue of diversion of cannabis product, nor complaint of odor. We maintain an active, strong, good neighbor policy. So my objective today is to talk to you about what makes us a good operator, because it's important you select someone that's good for the community. That's not only going to generate revenue for the community, which is important, but provide medicine, provide access for individuals who want to consume adult use or recreational, but do it safely. Respect the neighbors, respect the community, and as our engineer can attest, ensure that we don't have a negative impact on the traffic in the surrounding area. Before I go into this, are there any questions, or did you want to hold questions?
We're gonna hold
Okay.
questions until the presentations are done.
All right, so Ben's gonna show you a video. If you pause here, this is our Voorhees, New Jersey location. We have tenants such as FedEx that we share locations with, and we've never had an issue. From here, we have a demising wall going down the middle. A lot of questions will come up like, well, like what about security and odor? How do we mitigate that? Well, we treat those demising walls with wire security mesh, and then we have OSB plywood, and then we have our drywall from a security standpoint. Behind that, we also have spray foam insulation. And then for our HVAC units, if we do have rooftop units, we seal those units, treat those with UV and carbon filtration to emit odor. We've been very successful. I invite any of you to visit our store in Voorhees, where it will attest to my comments. As he continues the video, you're gonna see the individual going to reception. Or I apologize. So this is our store. You can kind of see what the vibe is. If you pause right here. Our store is meant to be open and welcome. Cannabis is new to your community, as many other communities, and it's being destigmatized. So as you can see with our layout, we're trying to create an environment where people feel comfortable coming in. As a veteran, as of February, I left the military, right? So while we were running this business the past 17 years, no drugs for this guy. No cannabis, barely drank alcohol, but I know it's surprising as a Marine, but it's the truth. Got out in February and, having PTSD, been to war, cannabis has literally changed my life in 3 months. My wife has noticed a difference, the way I'm an amazing father, but my interactions with my kids have changed. So I can attest to how great cannabis is and what it can do for individuals like myself. But there's a lot of people that don't know about this, that either have the stigma of it and been scared of it, or just, did it back in the 70s and are like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this again. But when they come to our store, like Ben said, we walk them into it. We take time to educate. We still maintain a 4-minute transaction time, but we allocate time for people like me to get 10 minutes to sit down and learn what cannabis can do for them. What we find out is that when you put down the cannabis, or you put down a glass of wine and pick up cannabis at night, your next day is a lot better. So going back to the video, I digress. You'll see the check-in. At check-in, it's a secure location where we will confirm their age and identification with a valid ID. If we pause here, inside, you'll notice a lot of education and opportunities. This is where customers can freely, without pressure, shop for product, and then before they're approached by a patient counselor. Any live products such as cannabis flower, if we pause here, is secured in a glass case lock. That is the only live cannabis that's on the floor, because a lot of consumers, 50% of them still consume cannabis flower. And it's very important for them to see the quality of that flower. Additionally, you'll see our archways where we display our edibles, our tinctures.
Sorry about that.
So our cannabis flower is secured in a locked display case. In the arches, those are all empty packages. None of those packages are full of cannabis. That's just for the consumer to explore the options. What that does is our goal from a regulatory standpoint and operator standpoint is to mitigate any type of diversion of cannabis. Our point is, if we pause here. Once your order is placed and you know what you want, you're like, all right, this is what I want. I would like to get this tincture. The patient counselor will spend time with you walking through what you need to do. And while they're doing that, they'll send the order back to our inventory room. Our inventory room is a secure location where they can package the product and make sure you're getting the right product without any pressure from the sales rep on the floor. All our products secured in the vault, packaged here, and then pass through a secure narcotic, pass-through container. Once that's received on the other end, that product is verified with the customer or patient that they have the appropriate product. Is this yours? Is this your name? Everything's checked off to make sure that they're getting the right product to go home with. And then the transaction is completed. This on average only takes 4 minutes. If you do an online order, 2 minutes. And that average still allocates time that we spend with customers and patients that want the education. Once they leave, they'll never consume on premises. That's strictly enforced. We actively patrol for that. And then this goes into security and safety. So as you can see, we have every angle of this store covered. We use access control with RFID cards. And if we pause here, all our product is stored in a DEA rated vault for Schedule I drugs. We take the maximum precautions. We don't expect nor to have any break-ins, but we're always prepared. Last thing we want to do is put product down the streets that shouldn't be there. So we utilize this vault, which is manufactured here in New Jersey, and then will be assembled on site. The idea is to give you a visual of some of the security devices we have in place and how the store is laid out. Panic buttons in case there is an emergency, which we've never had to use to date. So in conclusion, our operations are safe, secure. They benefit the community not only fiscally, but the access to either medicine or products that can be a positive alternative for current uses like such as alcohol.
I got it.
With that, I'll hand it off to Ben for him to complete.
And I'll just kind of wrap it up here because I know we might be getting close to our time, but so just to thank you, Blake, for that. So we have a contingent lease at 75 Route 4 that we can commence construction immediately. This location's in the cannabis overlay zone and meets all the requirements from the borough ordinance. Our detailed construction budget is finalized, the funds are secured, and we believe we could apply for a certificate of occupancy within 4 months of site plan approval. We have a conditional license from the state, so we can expedite the final process from the state side. Our proposed facility is along Route 4. As part of the due diligence, as Matt's mentioned, we've hired Brian from Neglia, who can answer any questions regarding traffic. The facility itself has 24 reserved parking spaces based on ordinance 24-04, which requires 1 parking space for every 200 square feet of net retail area and 1 parking space for each employee, which our max would be 12. This location more than meets the basic parking requirements, which would be 19 based on that breakdown. In addition to that, the shopping center has 39 extra parking spots in an overage lot. Our lease will allow us to use that shared lot for all of our employee parking. That means that all 24 dedicated parking spots will be for customers. Our average transaction time, as Blake said, with over 90,000 transactions in 2023 in our Voorhees store, was 2 minutes for pre-orders and 4 minutes and 19 seconds for in-store purchases. We feel very confident that this facility will allow ease of access for customers and not cause any traffic congestions or parking issues. We've also met with the chief of police on May 14th, and we've agreed to work with the police department to hire 2 off-duty officers, if possible, to help alleviate any concerns when we first open. And lastly, I just want to talk about the benefits of the town because that's really the most important thing here. Based on our projected revenues, we project after 1 full year of operations, River Edge will receive over $250,000 in tax revenue. In addition to the tax revenue, we plan to annually donate a portion of our profits to our community fund that can be used to support current River Edge needs. The community fund will be comprised of employees and local community leaders to help Sweet Spot allocate these funds to the right organization. The fund represents a steadfast commitment by Sweet Spot to integrate fully as part of the local business community and give back to the community where we intend to grow and thrive for years to come. In anticipation of approval, we spent time talking to community members and attending council meetings and to understand the current needs. Based on these interactions, we understand that the River Edge Public Library are in need of funds. We would be happy to utilize our community fund to support the library or whatever other interests of public concern the borough might advise. And we would be happy to work with the council to ensure that the funds support the greatest needs in the community. We are excited about the prospects of opening our newest dispensary location here in River Edge. We spent a lot of time, energy to ensure that this business will provide ease of access for our customers and a positive benefit to River Edge while not disrupting town activities. That's it for us. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer anything you might have. And thank you.
Great. Council President.
Thank you. That was very thorough. I just have two questions. When you mean hybrid facility, what does that exactly mean?
So we originally won, when the state first started allowing this, it was medical only. We won our first license in 2019, and that was a medical dispensary. Since then, the state went adult use, and they allow medical dispensaries to do medical and hybrid. So our location in Voorhees is called a hybrid facility because it both serves medical patients and adult use. This location would be only adult use, but because our background is so extensive in the medical side, we will be able to educate our customers with that same education, even though we won't be able to apply the medical product.
I have a follow-up, if I may.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I understand you met with the chief of police on May 14th. And the concern of the parking spot, I mean, we live here, we know the Saturdays are crazy on Route 4 because of the mall traffic. How will that work? I mean, there is always a concern there on the flow of traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could bring in Brian here, who's the professional. I mean, I could answer it. We're gonna use the police, off-duty police officers to help alleviate those traffic concerns, but Brian is truly the expert, so we'll let him answer anything.
Brian, would you state your full name and address?
Brian Tindola, and the spelling of the last name is Intindola. I'm the principal of Neglia Group, and I'm serving as a traffic engineer.
You can give Neglia as your business address, but you just need to give an address unless,
34 Park Avenue, Woodland.
okay, go ahead.
So, hearing your concern, Council President, is that, how does it work on Route 4, retail use, right? My recollection that this was a travel agency at one point.
I actually forgot. I'm sorry. I didn't ask you. Could you please state your credentials for the record?
Active licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey, and focusing on municipal scale traffic reports and traffic signals, and been accepted by mayor and councils and boards on too many occasions, but we'll say we're in the 600s or so as an expert witness.
Certified?
Absolutely. I've known Mr. Tindola for a long time.
Which is a good thing. And so, traffic, right, Route 4, this particular site, if I were to build a site from the ground up, right? And the overlay zone recognizes that this is where it should be, this use. And I say that because, it is on the Route 4 frontage, they're all right-ins and right-outs. The existing site has a circulation pattern that takes you around, back through the central aisle to get back out. So that clockwise circulation pattern is what I would look to do for this use. On the backside, it's basically separated by a moat or Coles Brook. So it is, for this use from a traffic perspective, it's nicely situated. And what we did is, we did traffic counts. We ran the levels of service, as a typical traffic engineer representing the planning board. And we also submitted it to the NJDOT for a letter of no interest to see if the traffic is significant enough to trigger a new access permit, which is what we'd have to do. We've submitted that to the DOT. the traffic volumes that the site would generate it with a differential between the retail use and the proposed cannabis use is not significant enough to trigger a new permit. Right now, Dello Pello is the contractor for NJDOT. They are doing some improvements to the Main Street ramp right now. They're redoing the radius for the ramp. They poured the one side today. They're gonna pour the other side, put a handicap ramp in. So all the things that I want as a traffic engineer, this site provides. Parking's gonna be managed by Sweet Spot with, we typically present for cannabis use that the first year or so will have off-duty police officers to help manage it. Because it's a novel use, it's just like when they opened up the Sonics on Route 17 a couple years ago. It was mayhem. We've gotten past that in the cannabis use because I believe New Jersey's up to about 110 retail uses right now, so it's becoming not so much the novelty, but you want this to open smoothly, and we've done the traffic counts. We believe the access works. The access circulation around the back works well. There's a center aisle for exiting. So for all the things that I would look at, right in, right out, it's basically pre-engineered for this site. It's just a resumption of the travel agency use for the cannabis use of 1,800 square foot on a Saturday peak hour, which is everyone's interest in Bergen County. It's about 50 trips during the Saturday peak hour based on Institute of Transportation Engineers data, as well as NJDOT has a classification for this use as well. So all said, the driveways will work with a reasonable level of service C. We don't see an issue with that. So, and it's just while the novelty's there, it will be managed by off-duty police officer. And as that market is then found and the saturation is met, that'll taper off, but it's up to the borough to see if they're comfortable with that and to be monitored ultimately by whatever the traffic sergeant or the traffic lieutenant to see if he's satisfied. So I think that's where we're at.
And I'll just add, as Brian mentioned, a year or two ago, when this first was adult use, yeah, there would be a lot more issues, but because it's become more regular and there's obviously a lot of stores in the surrounding areas, it won't create that type of issue that, you might be concerned about.
Just like opening a shopping center, it's really building habits for the customers as they come in. So once we get by that 2 months, they understand this clockwork method that we've established to help mitigate any congestion and push the traffic out to the right way.
And because we have such great numbers in terms of getting people in and out while still educating them, there won't cause a buildup getting into the store, doing the transaction. It kind of keeps a nice steady flow.
Thank you.
No problem.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Well, she stole one of my questions. Thank you.
You
That
could
was
ask it again if you like.
I know, right?
I have another one if you
is there-
want. I give it to you.
Just to confirm, none of the products are gonna be on the floor itself, right? They're gonna be in the back and the vault.
Correct, or it's in lock behind the seal thing that you can't get behind.
Okay, and I think in your presentation, not here live, but in the packet you sent us, you have projections for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
Do you think those are viable considering that there is gonna be a huge influx of cannabis retailers coming in? Do you think that's
We are projecting based upon who has opted in the
Mhm.
surrounding areas. I can't project if any of these other places do that, and obviously that will play a part, right? But we're basically saying these towns our projections are based upon a 20-minute drive time.
Mhm.
And the towns that already have it,
okay?
and we take those numbers and that's basically how we come up to it.
I was gonna say, in addition, some towns are only medical, like there's some dispensaries that will never be allowed to convert, and so we do a lot of analysis based on traffic flow and traffic patterns, et cetera, so to see.
But these numbers, we are very conservative with our numbers. We don't like to
Inflate.
big
Okay.
promises and then not come through. Everything that we believe is gonna happen, and it's our intentions to meet all of them.
Okay,
Well, we can come back to you. Councilman Benson?
Thank you, Mayor.
thank you.
Thank
No
you for
problem.
your presentation.
Absolutely.
I come from a Citibank background, so I'm just curious, are any people in your stores paid through any kind of financial goals, like they have to sell a certain amount of product, things like that?
So I can answer that. We do not have that compensation levels. Our staff are trained to educate customers and guide them to the right purchases.
And all of our staff has full medical benefits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're one of the only groups that we do 100% paid employer paid medical benefits. This is a lucrative industry and we pass that down to employees, so we pay well above the minimum wage. We offer, fully paid for medical and dental benefits with vision, as well as equity packages. So most individuals in management positions have equity packages, some even in marketing and lower level positions receive them. So our employees, from a standpoint, we don't pressure them to make sales goals. We try to create a culture that's very collaborative and equitable for everyone.
Okay, thank you. And I heard you mention that you're gonna annually donate to a community fund.
Mhm.
Is there like a number associated with that? How would you figure?
So
out?
we're gonna do it, we're gonna create this community fund that's gonna be from people on our firm and we'd like to work with you guys. It's gonna be a certain amount of basis points of our net profits.
Thank you.
Councilman Glass.
Wait.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. Your record is amazing. Serving as COO and all you got going on. How many other stores are you guys working on and how do you manage your workload? And what if you find that you're getting spread too thin? Do you have, what kind of staff do you have under you? It seems like,
It's a lot.
you know,
It is.
I know when you're in a growth mode,
Yeah.
especially COO, there's a lot, it seems like there's a lot of demands on you. You're COO and it sounds like you're managing
Safety.
security. You have a lot of responsibility. Can you explain a little bit how you manage that and what resources you have under you? And part of the equation for me is, are you guys doing this in other communities at the same time? How many other stores do you have in development?
It's a great question. I get that from my wife every Friday night at 7 p.m. But no, in the early days, I started this 7 years ago with a black beard. So as you can see, I did bear those burdens in the early days. But as a leader, as an officer in the military, I know the importance of leadership, decentralized command, and delegation. So I've embraced that. From a retail operations standpoint, we have a vice president of retail operations who's here in New Jersey full-time. We have a director of retail operations that support him, who's here in New Jersey. My leadership philosophy, if you're managing 4 to 7 plus, you need to bring on someone to help you manage that. That's my philosophy, and I stuck to that, and it's been successful. On construction, we have an associate project manager who started out in a cultivation team, worked up to construction. And we also have a seasoned PMP project manager that comes from 15 years of construction project management. I'll be handing off the security and safety portion of my job to a director of security and safety, another fellow Marine veteran who will be joining us at the end of the year. So although I do have a lot going on, we do delegate. My priorities are on the community governance, the community interactions, and then of course our metrics. Are we building out fast enough? I'm very seasoned in construction. I know how to move things along. We never have high lead times on equipment. So I'm a facilitator. I don't have people that work for me. I work for them. They come to me, they let me know what they need to do their job. I prioritize and I execute. I've been very successful.
So how many stores do you have in the pipeline right now?
Right now under construction, we have 1 under construction, 1 that just wrapped up construction, and then we would love to move forward with this. So while this is under construction, we'll probably have 1 other store.
Okay, 2 more quick questions. We were asking about traffic and those related concerns. First Saturday, how many people do you think?
I'll field that one. Our models, we've stress tested them, we're very good. You can't anticipate what the first Saturday is. I think the novelty is starting to wear off here in New Jersey, so it could be high, it could be low. We always take precautions such as having traffic control and ensuring that we have individuals in the parking lot to start getting people accustomed So to answer your question, like how many people we can do, 50 transactions or 200 transactions, no matter what we do, we're prepared to handle it. So it's really a hard question. We've seen states in where we've done high revenue numbers and it took us a year to ramp up to that. Like this doesn't, you don't turn it on and you're successful overnight. Those days in cannabis are over. You have to put the time and energy to build that consumer base. So I don't imagine the first few Saturdays and first few months being chaotic. And as we ramp up to full capacity, that just allows our team to be more efficient and more prepared and allows the customers to develop that custom to how do we move throughout.
All right, I knew I wasn't gonna get a number, I understood. Anyway, last question. What kind of, structure do you envision? I don't know what kind of commitment I can ask for, but, are there any plans in the near future or in the foreseeable future to franchise? So will you maintain management?
Oh, of this
directly?
location, no, we are,
Will it
Yes,
this will always be.
remain under your control?
yes, we will not franchise this out. We love River Edge and we plan to hold on to this for as long as possible.
And then, David, just to add to what, in terms of how also Blake delegates, over the 7 years that they've been operating, a lot of the stores regulate based on SOPs or standard operating procedures, which are creatures of regulations. So Blake and the rest of our team consistently read through the SOPs and drill them into the managers, the GM. So if anything happens, the playbook is there. You have to follow it to a T because compliance is really what brings down operators. And compliance is a strong track record that we have according to the SOPs that we draft and implement.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Yes, did you need another license to open for this premises
A state license?
Yes.
Yes, and
You
we
do.
have one already,
already?
yes.
Okay,
So we would just, let's just say we win, we would take that resolution of support, bring that to the state, and that's how you get final approval. But we already have a conditional license and we've actually,
It's called a conditional license, but the condition is that we get.
You get the
You get
resolution.
the-
Yeah, so once you have so conditional license is designed for, so in order for you to secure site control and get a resolution support from the town before you like fully commit to an annual license, which is the next step. The path next is resolution support at hand, finalize the conversion application and submit it. And it's just hurry up and wait to be 3 months for CRC approval. The average right now is like three to 4 months from getting your foot in the door. So that's really the timeline. And while we're waiting, and then it would overlap for final inspection.
okay, and just a couple more. Your online sales, how are those?
So online sales have been making up a larger portion because of that 2-minute time. So right now we're seeing 20 or 40% in some stores, 20 on the low end, and that keeps increasing. So we tend to push online sales. One, it allows customers that know what they want to get in and out. It decompresses the staff and allows us to spend more time with the location.
Okay, and you said you were building a cultivation?
Mhm.
Does that mean you're gonna make, like, grow the
Yeah.
product?
Yes.
Yourself, because right now
And-
what you're getting
right,
from
so-
wholesale.
exactly, right,
Okay.
because you can't, so that's where our cultivation facility is gonna be in South Jersey.
Okay,
Obviously, us being a vertical business will allow us to be able to insulate our prices, not affected by the marketplace, which will be passed down to the customers themselves. So it's a net benefit for everybody because we, just like everything of our operations, we make sure that we're the most efficient in how we operate, and that goes with the grow too. And we can grow, a pound of cannabis at a very nice price, and we will be passing on those discounts to the customers of River Edge.
thank you. That's it.
Council President.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question. And again, Ben, thank you for your service as well. That was a very impressive record. Can you talk to us about the background check of the employees? How many employees do we expect to have in this location? And how does that work for the perspective of the staff training that you mentioned for the community?
So the max employees for this location wouldn't exceed 20 to 24. That's for covering 7 days a week. For background checks, our management staff will undergo background checks by the company. That's to ensure, one, they can handle, they're gonna be handling money, they're gonna be managing people and responsible for enforcing regulations. Really, we're just looking for that someone doesn't have any glaring convictions that would lead to bad character. So immoral convictions or larceny, burglary, things like that. As far as the employees, they will undergo a state required inspection. or
Yeah, so,
background check.
every state has different regulations. New Jersey requires every employee that sells or works for a cannabis company to be what's called a carded employee. You have a card that is associated with you, that gets approved and issued by the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, so every employee will go through a state required check. With that, when we hire people, we do ask for a general background check, because New Jersey has certain things called disqualifying convictions, that if you have them, you cannot be employed in the cannabis industry. So to answer your question, there is more to it than just walking off the street and getting paid hourly. You have to have a card in order to be, the card has to be displayed. If it doesn't, that could be a violation. So it goes back to compliance.
And I just want to add one thing. Blake mentioned 24 employees. It's going to be a max 12 per like shift. So, you know, it's not, we're having 24 people. It's just that we need to have multiple shifts based upon the hours, and we would like to be operating 7 days a week.
Full-time employees,
Right.
not part-time, so.
We do a 4-day work week as well, so that's, we find that people enjoy having 3-day weekends or that extra day off, so, we have 24 employees at most, 12 per shift, and that allows for us to have the 4-day work week for the employees.
That's because they would. So forth.
Councilman Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe I need a lot of education on this, but I know that there's another license for you to be able to deliver for business. Do you have any? plans for that?
There is a separate delivery license that you can get that is standalone. However, with a retail license comes the right to deliver.
Do you plan to do that? Like, will there be a truck with your name going on around
No.
the neighborhood or
I
anything like
mean,
that?
even if we were, right now, we have no intentions of participating in delivery. We have done delivery in other markets, and it's just not, it's not favorable, not because of any issues with it, it's just not a lot of people use it. We wouldn't right now, we have no intention of doing delivery. If we were, we never do delivery in an overt manner where it's like, hey, cannabis is
You're
on this.
also not allowed under state regulations. It has to be a secure vehicle, and you can't advertise anything, so.
And I moved diplomats through Warzone, I moved diplomats through Pakistan, so even if we took it on, I'm very confident that we can do it safely and securely.
Okay, we're kind of stretching the time, but if there is a pertinent question, is there a pertinent question?
Really?
Okay,
Where are you guys based?
I'm based in New York, and we were all living in Rhode Island when we first started this business.
And we're standing up, so New Jersey is becoming our home base. Our VP of retail just moved to Northern Jersey. Our director of retail moved there.
Jersey and Brennan,
East Jersey. So
Yeah.
our goal is to be Jersey home base. Right now, we're all kind of all over it.
And one other question related, real quick. So we have all this control related to security in the facility. Are there security risks associated with deliveries? And if so, how would that be managed?
Not security risks associated with deliveries. Cannabis has shown to increase security posture and decrease crime throughout the area. The security risks you do have aren't with deliveries. They're more of internal theft, which we mitigate through positive culture, training, and checks and balances. And then your unsophisticated smash and grabs. Those are your 2 biggest threats, and we're taking countless measures to mitigate those.
are we good? All right, the council may or may not decide on a letter of, what's it called? Support at the end of the public meeting. We will be having a closed session where we'll discuss this. When we come out, the council may or may not decide at that time to do a letter of support. You are welcome to stay. Okay. We will, of course, have other business after the second presentation. Of course, we will allow them, the opportunity for a full question answer like we did you. We're going to move to the next presentation. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much,
Very much.
council. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Could I have Neighborhood Greens come up, give us their name and address? And you may, of course, may give a business address. You don't necessarily have to give a home address. And if you're going to have any experts would, of course, need to give their qualifications.
Sorry. All good, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You?
Give them about 18 minutes, I think, but we give them up to 20. Hopefully they'll stick more than 15.
Okay, to state our names.
Yes, if you could, and your role and an address, which may be your business address.
My name is Ronick Deci. I'm the CEO and our business address is 4 West Palisade Ave, Englewood, New Jersey.
I'm Gurteg Singh, COO.
I'm Lynn Albrandt. I am CEO of the Neighborhood Greens Foundation.
And then we have 2 representatives that are joining us virtually. They can address their names.
I'm Sebastian Nassau. I'm a consultant to Neighborhood Greens.
I am Jessica Kaiser. I am also a consultant to Neighborhood Greens.
Okay. As I mentioned to the previous presentation, we hopefully we can keep it to 15, but we're not going to hold you to that. But we don't want you to take advantage of that either. Then we'll go into questions and answers. We'll give each council member 2 or 3, and then we'll end that and move on with other business. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. I think first off, we just want to thank the mayor and council for giving us the opportunity to engage this process and present today. We are Neighborhood Greens. Neighborhood Greens represents a collection of individuals who believe in the idea of responsible enterprise, where it's not just about investors and owners, but equally about employees in the community at large. We believe that this perspective is especially important in the cannabis industry as we are dealing with a powerful substance where consumer understanding is limited around potency, dosing, and the effects of different consumption methods, leaving the door wide open for potential adverse reactions and also abuse. So when these negative experiences happen, who is left to deal with it? It's not private enterprise. It's families and communities. It's community infrastructure. It's community resources. It's volunteer EMS. It's all those direct costs are all unbudgeted and are all unbudgeted by the community. However, what makes us Neighborhood Greens different is that we have thought deeply about this issue, and we have already brought solutions and community partners to the table before we even become operational. So what we're proposing here today is a forward-thinking dispensary that operates at a high level and proactively solves for any potential negative externalities to the community, which is to be accomplished by a separate not-for-profit wing of Neighborhood Greens, which gives an active voice to residents and brings together leadership from Bergen County's major civic organizations, such as Greater Bergen Community Action Group and Children's Aid and Family Services that's responsible for a lot of the drug education programming throughout the county in Bergen County. To that end, we'd like to quickly share a little bit about our team and operations before we get into our community initiatives and the anticipated economic impact in River Edge. I am going to keep this bit quick to be mindful of time, but this is Gurteg, as mentioned. He's our Chief Operating Officer. My name is Ronick. Our track record is in scaling highly regulated and highly rated multi-state clinical outpatient centers serving mental health and addiction patients. What has made us effective is our ability to build operations that meet individuals where they are at, while also building larger systems of support by plugging into and enhancing local infrastructure. Emma, who is our general manager, she's a plant expert. She has a background in ethnobotany and cannabis medical research. She ran the top-rated cannabis dispensary in Oregon, which is a very mature market, for several years. And her operations were renowned for their customer experience and their ability to manage high throughput in one of the physically smallest dispensaries in the state, She's also the individual who created the position of Director of Education and Training to ensure that patients were having informed consumption experiences. Also with us are Sebastian and Jessica. Between them, they've assisted 150 dispensaries opening up across 20 different states and even 10 in New Jersey. And they'll be working with us from a compliance perspective before doors open and thereafter. So this is just some of the experience we'll be bringing to River Edge if given the opportunity to operate here. What I want to underline here is that we have collectively done this before. We know how to execute at a very high level while meeting the needs of the community in a prudent and thoughtful manner. Now, in the interest of time, I'm quickly going to run through some of the pillars that make up our operating strategy. So feel free to, if you want more detail, ask me more during the Q&A. Employee well-being. Our employees set the tone for every customer interaction. The better trained our employees are, the better prepared they are to assist customers in navigating the complexities of cannabis. From that perspective, we intend to invest heavily in our employees. Our employees will go through a robust training program with continuing education opportunities with local colleges, but also in terms of clinical research that's coming out as cannabis becomes more clinically researched. We pledge to promote within whenever possible. And on top of competitive wages, our employees will participate in profit sharing so that they can enjoy some of the upside of the business. As well, in addition to that, we intend to hire, as according to our workforce development plan, over 40% of our staff from River Edge to maximize the local impact to the locality wherever possible. Client education. This slide is really a conversation around retailing cannabis through a harm reduction approach. And as you know, today, most dispensaries market their different strains as indica, sativa, or some hybrid combination of the two. Now, historically, indica and sativa plants each correspond to a very specific chemical effect. But since there has been so much cross-pollination in the development of new strains, the underlying chemical effect has changed. So if customers do not really know what they're purchasing, how can we expect them to develop a responsible relationship with the plant? So we need to change this model. And at Neighborhood Greens, we intend to provide evidence-based customer education so that customers can cultivate greater agency in the purchasing process and have informed experiences with safer outcomes. For me, this is a bit personal. My father has MS. He takes like 1,000 milligrams of gabapentin every night. And I think about what I would want his experience to be to ensure that he's receiving the care that he needs. And then thinking about that from a more projected lens to the rest of the community and other individuals who are dealing with medical needs. Next slide, please. So, and then our third pillar is healthcare outreach. Basically, many medical providers have been unable to cut through the noise around cannabis and feel uninformed over cannabis's clinical efficacy. So we will seek to solve for this information gap by working with healthcare systems and providers. We have already developed a relationship with Bergen Newbridge Medical Center and other systems such as Englewood Health to explore what the integration of cannabis would look like when treating conditions or disease states such as pain management.
You've heard a brief overview of our organization's tenets from Ronak. I'd like to now discuss specifically about the dispensary and its operations. Starting with the floor plan, our vision is to build a model that emphasizes meeting customers where they are while creating transaction flows that maximize efficiencies. Our high-end personalized retail experience prioritizes alleviating traffic concerns. Our planning approach has focused on two key aspects, security and flow. We are keenly aware about our need to minimize congestion. We've been strategic about creating a hybrid floor plan. Primarily, we're building opportunities for expediting throughput, which minimizes vehicle traffic and consumer traffic. Secondarily, we're building a concierge environment, think Apple Store experience, where clients are directed and engaged proactively. Through this, we're attracting clientele that will rise to the level of their environments. We're educating our consumers who, as having great experience learning and engaging with our bed tenders, will become repeat customers. They will likely have the confidence to know what they want for their next purchase and even move towards pre-ordering, further reducing congestion and expanding on those traffic flows. A more informed consumer results in an increase of purchasing efficiency and desire, making the process quicker while increasing revenue. With the limited time we have, I'll move quickly through the floor plan, but again, happy to answer specific questions during Q&A. Important to note here, the version that's displayed on the screen is redacted for security purposes. The deck that you guys have, the council, has more detailed insight on the locations of the restricted area. Additionally, we have not had access to the specified real estate. Our team has gathered dimensions virtually and engaged with security contractors to build the initial version here. As you can see, immediately as you enter the lot, you're greeted by traffic control guards and exterior premise guards. As soon as you walk in, you are greeted by an ID verification guard and receptionist. Immediately, we start the flow of the consumer volume. People that have already had pickup orders registered and are showing their badges and IDs, QR codes with their time-stamped approval to come and enter the store will be entered to one entrance to maximize flows there, while others that need consultations, need education, need that one-on-one experience, or have yet to order will go through a waiting area. In the waiting area, we do have an educational resource center or a counter, think Genius Bar and an Apple Store. This is to allow for that one-on-one personal engagement for further informed consumption. Again, we're trying to build a relationship here with the product, with the cannabis, rather than someone coming in just to go out for a weekend and get high. In the waiting area, those kiosks and bud tenders that are actively attending customers there will engage the customers to begin the ordering process, so they're not further delaying or congesting the actual sales floor. If there is no wait and they are ready to order immediately, they can go directly into the order kiosk. For folks that need further assistance and further guidance, we have created consultation rooms where they can engage with our bud tenders. We want to be proactive in creating swift and safe operations. We will further enhance our strategy and build an efficient system upon access to the real estate and in conjunction with subject matter experts. We all have to go through that same process. We all have to go and get our security plans approved. We all have to be abiding by guidelines through the NJCRC. So we know we will begin and be thorough in that process and ensure we get adherence to all regulatory measures. With the experience of attending previous council meetings and engaging with community stakeholders, we have continued to hear concerns of safety. Working in other harm reduction organizations, I've personally experienced working with communities in sensitive and highly regulated industries and ensuring there's a safety and security plans implemented and aligned with local police departments. We get it. Fortunately, New Jersey CRC, the borough, and the police department will all be involved in setting safety and security standards that we must comply with. If we don't, we can't operate. And if we can't operate, well, that's bad for business. We have already begun the process of identifying security directors with law enforcement backgrounds and valuable experience overseeing, implementing, and executing security plans and procedures in dispensary environments. The security director will routinely audit and update the security systems and ensure they keep up with best practices. The director will also manage security guards that will complement the off-duty police officers. And all systems will be monitored by an approved third-party licensed vendor at all times and be fully available for the police department. The systems will also be routinely audited to ensure compliance and proactively mitigate any concerns. Along with the security director, we have a compliance director in our team with experience across many licensed establishments and in maintaining a culture of compliance for dispensaries. Veronica and I have both been in highly regulated industries, including substance abuse treatment facilities, and have routinely worked with state and federal agencies. We know the importance of compliance and how much scrutiny is involved in adhering to standards and keeping up with best practices. Being in these positions before, we always strive to go above and beyond. There should be no question or confusion in our adherence to safety and security standards. Our dispensary should be a place known for its excellence in providing a secure environment, a place our customers can feel comfortable coming to, and a business the community does not have to worry about, but rather can be proud of. We will continue to attend borough meetings and have an open door for the community for any safety and security concerns. While connecting with Chief Walker, we heard his primary concern about ensuring proper and efficient traffic flow. We have identified traffic engineers who will be contracted to support in building a model that minimizes congestion and creates most effective flow. We will be collaborating with the landowner, Chief Walker's team, to make sure all key stakeholders are involved in this planning process. In collaboration with the landowner, we are willing to make the investments needed to improve the lighting, signage, and enhance the entrance and exit to the property. To further minimize congestion, we will implement 3 different stages that promote pre-ordering. Anytime users access the website, they will be prompted to initiate a pre-order that markets a quick and streamlined pickup process. All pickups will be timestamped based on availability, allowing those customers to enter the dispensary only during their allotted time. This further improves flow and gives our team an understanding of expected customer volume. We will promote ordering in waiting areas with kiosks and bud tenders that will actively engage with customers and build their orders. Finally, with approvals from the borough and in collaboration with the landowner and the police department, we will implement a curbside pickup area. This will significantly improve the traffic pattern and further increase customer throughput. The landowner owns the adjacent properties, so working with him will be beneficial for the overall retail experience in the area. Additionally, we want to set standards and expectations around our model, which will discourage loitering and other disruptive behavior. To that extent, we will implement a good neighbor policy for our team and our customers. It's important to ensure that all who are engaged with neighborhood greens do so in a respectful and considerate way. Our dispensary's environment will demand all customers to act to the standard commensurate expected from the community. As a result, we will be strictly enforcing our good neighbor policy, which would allow for suspension of customers from future sales at the establishment. Our community efforts don't stop just at implementing policies. We must be active participants in the social fabric of the neighborhood we operate in. To that extent, we believe we have an obligation to increase cannabis-related education. Spreading awareness and solving for the information gap for this new industry will have immense value in creating informed customers. Parents will be empowered to connect with their children in conversations around drug education. Building tailored programming and collateral to support agencies will further disseminate information across various groups and create more vigilant and engaged community, deterring abuse and maximizing responsible consumption. We have had the privilege of working with key organizations and have evidence in implementing our ideals. We've co-hosted and led events in collaboration with groups like New Jersey Poison Control, Bergen County Prevention Coalition, and Englewood Health. Our efforts and engagements have led to support from organizations like Greater Bergen Community Action and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center, which letters of support you can see in our submitted proposal. These aren't just mission statements for us. We believe and live by the values we want to see in the dispensary. In addition to our good neighbor policy, we will be implementing a Shop Local initiative targeted at increasing engagement at local community businesses. This program will provide customers who shop at local businesses access to a point-based system for awards and discounts within our own dispensary. Additionally, we will be mindful of the high costs of cannabis and impact that it has on patients who can benefit from it the most. We want to support our patient communities as we have experienced dealing in that substance abuse world. We want to support their needs while deterring further propagation of reliance on opioids and the black market for medicinal pain management. Upon doors opening, we will set aside $25,000 of inventory to be sold near cost for qualified Medicaid patients to increase access to necessary care. We will hire a full-time licensed clinician to be a resource for our customers to the extent they want it and need it. The social worker will be a liaison to the borough in creating and implementing resources for mental health care. While the borough and police department are doing an effective and amazing job already in bringing resources for emergency calls requiring mental health intervention, our clinician will act as another support whenever needed. Neighborhood Greens will also be engaged through direct involvement in community events and initiatives. Our fellow neighbor policy will host a list of community organizations and volunteer opportunities for our teams to be able to participate in. All team members will have 3 full business days of paid volunteer time off per year, and our dispensary will be fully closed 1 day per year for our annual service day, where we will be engaged in team-wide volunteer activities. On top of it all, while we know the value our active efforts can have on the community, we have been raised to and have strong belief in sharing the fruits of our labor. We will be setting aside monies from our profits to be directly reinvested in programs across the borough. Being a former volunteer EMT in Fairlawn, I would be partial to reinvesting all of it to the River Edge Volunteer Ambulance Corps, but I don't think that would be fair. Programs like the Shade Tree Commission, congrats, Michelle, on the appointment. Volunteer fire and ambulance departments, food pantries, Friends of the Library program, and many more organizations can directly benefit from this additional funding. It's not that we don't know what we value, rather it's finding out what the community values and what it needs. To that extent, we'll work with local leaders, resident representatives, and attend organizational meetings and have active conversations with local stakeholders to get an understanding of what the borough and its organizations need. Local governments best know what local communities need. Neighborhood Greens will engage actively in creating pathways to help and support those needs. I'll pass it back to Ronak to talk specifically about this reinvestment.
We're coming close to your time limit.
We'll be quick.
Okay.
Our financial plan projected more conservative numbers to give a baseline estimate on what the borough can expect in terms of transfer tax revenue. Based on our operating strategy, market dynamics, historical sales for other similarly located dispensaries, as well as an understanding of the political picture around cannabis in neighboring municipalities, we believe that we can hit a $40 million run rate, bringing in about $800,000 in annual tax revenue for the borough of River Edge. To be clear, this is a number that has to be earned by us day in, day out, year in, year out. It will require planning, strong efficiency metrics, exceptional customer service, deep relationships with our suppliers, and both sound and innovative business strategy. Now, on top of that tax revenue, we will be reinvesting a minimum of 3% of our profits back into the community. Now, this 3% is just a floor on what we intend to put back into the community. Suppose the borough needs an additional $100,000 for pickleball courts, so that they don't have to, schlep it over to New Milford. Done. As we said, our intention is to be a community partner to the borough that can be relied upon at any time. Over 5 years, accounting for both tax revenue and for profit share with the community, we project over $5 million to be directed into River Edge. Ultimately, how this additional profit share money is allocated will be based upon the community's needs and their direct input. To ensure these funds are well targeted, we will seek a representative member from the community to join our foundation's board. Speaking very quickly about our foundation is the president of our board, Lynn Algrant.
I think we're out of time. We're gonna have to go to questions and answers. I think it's been about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Council President.
Someone's tracking that.
Thank you for that presentation. That was very thorough also. So I want to go back to the same question I asked the other business. What about, could you talk to me about the traffic? I noted on my notes that you have hired someone for the traffic review or traffic officer or something, but you haven't done the assessment yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, so prior to this process, the real estate was spoken for kind of prematurely without the intention of going through an approval and application process through the borough and the council. So not having access to the actual real estate, we don't want to be trespassing and taking some measurements that we shouldn't be doing. But the thing is, we all have to go through that process, right? No matter who gets the resolution, has to go through security planning, has to go through compliance with the chief of police, the New Jersey CRC, and other stakeholders. So we've already contracted for and identified those site engineers and traffic control engineers that can help us through that process.
Okay. And so a follow-up question, and also, you talk to us about your approach to the employee background and how does that work? How many employees do you foresee on site?
So we project at least 26 employees, including security. And all, because our employees will be non-equity holding employees, they have to go through very kind of basic background checks, but they still get the benefit of equity because of the profit share model. So that's the way we've kind of had to think through that, because there is a lot of oversight on who owns equity within a business and a lot of controls around that from the state. So that's kind of like a workaround we thought through. So any individual, especially on the management side of the team, will be going through pretty intensive background check, and same with any executive teams.
Sure, we can come back to you if you need it. Councilwoman Kinsella.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Very good. I have a few questions. Your presentation sounded more on the medical background than it did on the recreational background. So am I to assume that you're more, you've done more medical marijuana or just any marijuana?
So a lot of that conversation is from user research of what most cannabis consumers in New Jersey use cannabis for. And then a lot of it's for stress management and for mental health disorders. So we wanted to make sure that we were serving that population because, you know, they're self-medicating. And so they need, having that additional layer of support ensures that there are safer outcomes and those patients are getting the support, those customers are getting the support they need.
So have you sold?
Yes, so
Okay.
so Emma, our general manager, the dispensary that she ran was adult use, but there was also a medical component, which they really, built off a lot of important workflows upon. And they found that their adult use population was able to get, significant benefit from it, and so they expanded scope.
When you say adult use, you mean recreational?
Recreational,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. I've never. So.
Yeah, sorry, that's a legal term.
Yeah, okay. So you currently have a license for a dispensary?
No, so this would be our first business that we'd be operating, but our team does have experience in operating other licenses.
Okay.
We've been awarded by New Jersey CRC. Operation conditional licenses in New Jersey, yeah,
For recreation?
for recreation.
Okay. And so do you have a wholesaler that you'll be working with or?
Yes, so, part of our business strategy is kind of solidifying relationships up and down the supply chain, and we've already worked to do that with cultivators and manufacturers. The wholesale licensing program and distribution is coming more online at this point in time, for which we do have a wholesale relationship with a distributor and wholesaler out of Garfield.
I don't know. Okay, and are you gonna do online sales as well?
Yes, for online pickup, yes. For on-site pickup, yes.
Councilman Benson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the very detailed presentation. Appreciate it. Just have a question for you two gentlemen. So you haven't actually run a dispensary. You're surrounded yourselves with consultants and other people who have, but you guys don't have that experience. Do I have that right?
Yeah, we directly have not operated dispensaries. Our team has, and that's why our focus is being local resident. We're both Bergen County natives, born and raised here, live in Paramus, who lives in Teaneck. So this is our home, and we want to give back to communities, and we want to use this. We're at the precipice of this industry, shaping it from the ground up, and being able to deliver on a future of this cannabis industry that we can be proud of, our kids can be proud of. So why not take this opportunity to really deliver a business that can balance profit with purpose? And so our mission and what we will be spearheading here are the values and the ideals of that dispensary, while surrounding ourselves with a team that have that experience, because they will be engaged, boots on the ground in the sales force that we need them to be.
Okay, thank you. So given that, so it sounds like you guys are going to be leading by your vision of what you think this place should be. And everyone will kind of gather, follow your lead on that.
I'll say that the operations themselves, and from an operational perspective, and from a compliance perspective, are already informed by individuals who have done that work and built teams who have operated high volume dispensaries. The support that we're bringing additionally to that is one, strategy and integration with the local community, and three, just kind of operating highly regulated businesses that do have a healthcare component. Ultimately, we've had conversations with healthcare systems. We've had conversations with physician groups, and they find a lot of their patients are going to dispensaries, and there needs to be a sort of subject matter expert to help bridge that gap. And so I think between what the different piece members of our group have done, we've collectively come together and hope to convey something that's special here.
And you can see that further in our bios, right? He's coming from more of a community engagement perspective. I'm coming from leading. Our last business was outpatient addiction treatment facilities. We built and created 15 outpatient sites, and went through that process of being regulated by Department of Health's CARF, DEAs, having safes for substances, class 1 scheduled drugs. We've had that experience. So dispensary and the retail operations is one portion of it. we obviously have a lot of administrative and background compliance security issues that we all have experience with, and adhering to those standards.
Thank you. May I ask one more question?
Why don't we go to Councilman Glass, then we'll come back to you, okay? Councilman Glass, 2 questions, and then we're gonna swing through.
Okay, and narrow it down.
I knew I should limit you.
Yeah, you got to advise me. Thank you. Okay, I guess, no, I got that. The revenue projections. What do you?
Yeah.
What do you,
Perceived?
how do you translate that into customers per year? How many customers per year about to those revenue projections?
So-
I got my calculator out.
Yeah, so recreational, yeah, I don't have my calculator on me either.
How many customers per
So
year? Does that-
if you look at it on a transaction basis, you know, it's about $120 per recreational consumer. And on the kind of medical side, they spend about $146 to $150, and that's on a recurring basis because it's for medicinal needs
Each visit to the site or each water is gonna be.
on average.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Calculator.
40 million. Divided by 120. So that's over 300,000 transactions per year.
Yeah. And of course, that's spread across 7 days. And I think it's important to realize what the numbers in the surrounding area have been. Whether that's Ascend on 17 Rochelle or Paramus and Rise, Rise and Paramus. And then also having an understanding that there aren't going to be any other dispensaries on Route 4, with the exception to the Rise dispensary, prior to River Edge and thereafter. And that's something that we've confirmed in our conversations with other municipalities, reviewing their zoning laws and their ordinances and seeing where they actually are at with the issue. So based on those market dynamics and those precedent transactions, that's informed us to these numbers.
All right, that's a good segue into my next question. What's the status of the arrangements with the property that you're targeting as far as lease?
So at this point in time, as Grethega mentioned, the property has been spoken for, and you know, that is what it is at this point in time. But ultimately, sorry guys, it is not their contracts in contingency to them receiving the resolution. So if ultimately you guys decide to go with us because you think we are the better option, then we would potentially be able to speak with Mr. White and, you know, solidify our own agreement.
And our real estate agent has already been in contact with the representative of the property, and they have confirmed that it is contingent upon resolution. And should that resolution not pass, we can begin conversation.
Understood, thank you.
We'll come back to you.
Thank you.
We'll come back to you.
I
Council
just
President?
want, yeah, one question. I don't know if I missed it in the presentation, but those neighborhoods greens has existing dispensaries already in New Jersey?
So we don't have an existing dispensary, but we have up and running at this point in time is our foundation, where we've been doing drug education prevention work, and it's led by Ms. Lynn Algrant. And so that's kind of what we have up and running today in terms of operations and outreach.
I think that's the big appeal here, right? We are the owners, we are the operators. We will be there day in and day out on the floor, working with the dispensary, but working in the community, right? We're not here to set this up to then go think about our next one that we have to do. This is our community, we're homegrown, we're gonna live here, we're gonna raise our kids here, and we want to be impactful to that community.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
I think,
Councilman Benson?
Thank you, Mayor. Just another question for both of you. You come with a lot of background, you know, a lot of depth around medical, mental health and so forth. So if, for you personally, if we were to prove this and move forward with you, what would be the most challenging issue for you in moving forward, and how would you address that challenge personally?
So that's a good question. You know, sir.
Yeah, I would say that I actually do have a background in retail. My parents, it's not the same industry, but my parents had home decor shops in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. So growing up there, that was my life every weekend, every summer. So I have a lot of that kind of operational know-how. And then my background is the capital markets, portfolio management, and financial risk, and figuring out kind of and supporting strategic operations. I think ultimately for us, when we think about difficulties, one of the things that we kind of consider is just ensuring that our employees have the right resources to do the job that they need to do. But we've already solved for that by ensuring the right people are on the team, and we've already done pre-building of like a curriculum. And I think another issue is this being New Jersey, supply chain has always been an issue. That's why we have some of the highest cost of cannabis in the country and why there's health inequity issues. But we've also already solved for that as well by building relationships with our suppliers before we even got operational.
I have a different difficulty. We've been, Ron, you can see in the background and in the proposal submitted, we've been in cannabis policy for close to a decade now, and both in New York and New Jersey. We've been talking with mayors and councils up and down Route 4, Route 17 throughout Bergen County for the last 5 years. We purposely, even with a couple opportunities throughout the state, wanted to locate in Bergen County. Again, home. This is where we are. This is where we want to be, and we want to impact change right here directly. So for us, it's really going to be identifying key stakeholders from the community, because the community has so many needs, right? How do we get the right commission? How do we get the right folks on our foundation, resident representatives, to really deliver that impact and have it felt by every single resident, right? We were here when you guys had the meeting for the neighborhood to come together and talk about cannabis and see if you guys would approve it and move forward with the ordinance. And we heard those concerns, right? We heard the safety concerns. We heard the tax implication concerns. We heard the guy, Joe, his name was, that said, if this property value is going up, or my tax is going to increase as well too, right? So we heard those things, and it's really identifying and being part of that vision to say, hey, we hear where you're coming from, and let us collaborate, because the business is going to happen. If it doesn't happen in River Edge today, it's going to happen next door 5 years from now. How do we do it in a meaningful way that is community focused, community integrated, and with the right partnerships and collaborations? So we're making the most impact.
I'll just add one other thing. I'm sorry, I'm Lynn Albrand. I'm former city council person at large in Englewood. I spent 6 years there, so thank you for your service.
Lynn, you need to give us an address.
Oh, yes, sure. 334 West 245th Street in.
Good, and I hope you don't think this rude, but you won't be seen unless you stand over here.
Oh, that's right. Do I need to be seen?
Yeah, you need to be visible to our virtual. You're good right there.
Am I good right there? Okay,
Yes.
so sorry, I left Englewood. I now live in the Riverdale section of the Bronx, sadly, but I still work in Hackensack. And I just want to say that I, as a city council person and as the CEO of the Bergen Volunteer Center, I met these young men when I organized a Fifth Friday luncheon called Cannabusiness, Cannabank, right? Like cannabis was coming, and what did it mean for us, right? So the sheriff came and talked to us about, we'll have to retrain the dogs, right? And like there was all of this, it's coming, but what does it mean for us? And I was no longer on city council at that time, but I understand where you sit, right? And many cannabis businesses would call nonprofits every year in August when the medical licensing was coming. Will you write a letter of support? And we didn't know who they were, and we didn't know what they wanted from us. What I found with these young men who were homegrown was they wanted to engage in a conversation, and they wanted to be part of the community, and they were from here. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we're already seeing it happen. I don't know if the profits and the resources are really coming back to our community in the way that we need them to come back to our communities, in terms of jobs, in terms of charitable contributions and other kinds of things. So I say all that to say, I'm so glad that I'm not in your seat anymore. These are very difficult conversations and very difficult things to be thinking about. But you want partners who are in your community, so that when your constituents are not sure if they're feeling great about what's happening, you can actually speak to the owners and say, we need to do something different, and will you help us? And that's what it means when they live in your community. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Councilman Benson, did you have your question answered?
Yes, thank
Do
you.
you have a follow-up question?
Not to that, I had one more question. if you-
Sure, and then we'll go to Councilman
Just a
Glass.
quick question, I apologize if I missed this. Do you, like, what funding do you have already available for you to build this?
Yeah, in our proposal, we've broken down the type of funding we have. It's about $5 million of liquid capital with additional interest upon resolution. We don't need to inflate numbers we have. You don't need more than $5 million. You don't need $5 million to make this happen. But we have the liquid capital, we have the funding sources to be operational.
Thank you.
Just a real quick question, 40,000 feet, what is Neighborhood Greens? Who owns it? What's the structure of the organization? What's its current business?
Great question.
Yeah, so, right now, we're basically a developing cannabis organization, cannabis business. We are all locally owned in Bergen County. We've taken on very little money for investors so that we can have as much say-so in the business as possible and ensure that, we're meeting the community objectives that we've laid out in front of us. And we've also built out relationships with the right investors over a very long time to ensure that they're aligned with our community objectives as well. And I think ultimately what we're looking to do is ensure that we're with the profit and opportunity that's coming here through an operation, through a business opportunity like this, that purpose is really being illustrated. And I think, from the work that we've already done and have worked to do and plan to do, I think that really kind of speaks to who we are.
So what's the ownership?
So what kind of specifics are you looking for?
Percentages?
Partnership?
We are owners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
We have owners, and we have other team members who have also minority stakes in the business.
Okay, that's
Oh, yeah.
present.
Yeah, between the core 4 or 5 folks on the executive team, we have 100% ownership.
Thank you.
And everything's been bootstrapped.
That's what I was
So
saying.
today,
Thank you.
yeah.
Sorry, how old?
How
How old is the company,
the foundation?
Yeah.
foundation?
Yeah, so we have our we have our corporate entity and we applied in the 2022 licensing process. So it's our corporation that's been around since then. But we've been operating through our foundation for a while.
You said 2022.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, we thank you. Just as I explained prior, the council will go into closed session and discuss this. It may or may not come out of the closed session and take action. Council reserves the right not to, and the council reserves the right to. All right? Thank you.
guys.
Thank you very much.
What else can we speak on?
Right now,
Okay,
wait,
okay.
could I have a motion and second to open to the public on any item on the agenda? Only on the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Bye.
Please take a seat, state your name and address, and you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, my name is Kathy Viola and I live at 170 Maplewood Avenue in Bogota. And I would be what you would probably consider an unusual ally to Neighborhood Greens. I have worked in prevention as a prevention specialist for over 10 years, closer to 15, in both Ocean County and Bergen County. I had a grant federally funded from the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America and have spoken at their conference on 3 separate occasions. And I am one of the few people that has probably read the entire legislation that New Jersey passed and follow the minutes and so forth. So this is a field that I am very passionate about. But New Jersey passed the legislation. Some parts, I think they did wonderfully compared to Colorado and Washington State and California, and some parts they missed a little bit, but that can be taken care of. But what I like thinking about prevention, and in the prevention world, we do use the terminology adult use because the legislation requires you to be age 21 or over. You must be 18 with a parent to even enter dispensary, okay? So with my prevention hat on and prevention education, I have worked with these gentlemen for several years and also have worked with the growers that they want to work with in Garfield. And with that in mind, I worked for the Center for Alcohol and Drug Resources. I worked for the Institution for Prevention and Treatment. So with that background, I applaud them with their efforts for community service and community engagement and education, because there are so many myths and misnomers and misunderstandings about cannabis, the potential for the THC content. I am also a breast cancer survivor, so it may be possible that I would be a client in the future should I have a recurrence.
10 seconds.
Okay, so I applaud their work with the community, focusing on education, especially related to youth, and giving factual information and working with the mental health community because of so often frequently co-occurring disorders.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good luck with your
Appreciate it.
decisions. Thank you.
Is there any other member of the public present who would like to make a comment? Please come forward, state your name. You may give your business address or your personal address.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Philip White and my business address is 75 Route 4 East in River Edge. And we are the landlords for Sweet Spot if they get this approval.
Yeah.
And my office is right behind the former Liberty Travel space, which would be their space. And if I wasn't impressed with these people, and if I didn't think they were going to do a good job, and I didn't think they would conduct the business in a very legal and ethical way, I wouldn't even have them there. So I'm here to endorse them. They've been terrific to work with, very honest, very forthright, very forward. And I hope the council is inclined to give them the opportunity to show you what they can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public present? Any member of the virtual public who would like to please raise your hand? I'll give it one more chance. Anyone present? Anyone virtually? Could I have a motion second to close to the public?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. So item number 9, monthly reports. There are 2 land use reports on record. And they are April 10th and April 24th. And you can get a copy if you're so interested from the borough clerk. We have a first reading, an ordinance. It says ordinance 24-14. Could I have a motion from the council president and a second from Councilwoman Kaufman? Motion that the following ordinance be introduced and passed on the first reading and setting July 8th, 2024 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard as the date and time, and the River Edge Library is the place and Zoom is the virtual platform for the hearing of said ordinance. Ordinance 24-14. Ordinance by the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, amending and supplementing the River Edge Borough Code, Chapter 350 Site Plan Review and Chapter 416 Zoning.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Apatola, can you please give us a synopsis of what we're trying to achieve here?
Yes, as recommended by the Land Use Board, this ordinance revises definitions, updates and clarifies lot coverage, covered porches, corner lots, accessory structure requirements, modifies terminology used for site plan review of retail food establishments.
All right, now, Mr. Shedanian, I believe it would be correct to say that if the council approves it tonight, it would then go to the land use board. The land use board would then review it and make recommendations or endorsements as they see fit. And then it would come back to the council. And if it needed to be modified, then it would have to be reintroduced. Is that correct?
Could not have said it better myself.
Excellent. Okay, this is open for debate. Is there debate? Seeing none, this is a first reading, so it'll be by acclamation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Hearing none, it is unanimous. Second reading and hearing on ordinance. The following ordinance published here within was the first read by title on May 13th, 2024, and posted on the bulletin board outside of the clerk's office, ordinance 24-13, an ordinance to authorize a special emergency appropriation NJS 40A:4-53. Could I have a motion from Councilwoman Kinsella, a second from Councilman Benson, to open to the public on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any member of the public who would like to ask a question, make a statement in regards to this ordinance? Please raise your hand if you're virtual. Please come forward if you're in present in the room today. Giving the virtual people just a few moments if they need it. Seeing none, could I have a motion from Councilman Glass and a second from Council President Monsanto Cohen to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Could I have a motion from Councilwoman Kaufman and a second from Councilwoman Kinsella to move the adoption?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. It is open for debate, inquiry, or comment. Seeing none, I will call the question. Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Council President Monsanto Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilman Benson,
Yes.
Councilman Glass.
Yes.
I apologize. One of the things I normally do is have the BA give a short synopsis. The council certainly knows it, but I should have done that. If you could, Ms. Apertella.
Yes, the purpose of this is to finance the first payment required for a rolling revaluation of all residential and commercial properties in the borough. We have been ordered to do so by the county, so it will be a multi-year process. This first year, the entire borough will be reassessed. And for the property values to be consistent with market rates based on a formula determined by the state. And then there is a second go around where these properties, all properties will be evaluated, but it would be 20% at a time over the next 5 years.
All right. We have resolutions now, item number 12, resolutions 24-172 through 24-188. Any member of council wish to pull out for a separate vote, debate, or wish to ask a question before we move these?
I do.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Just on 24-1886, Point Tree Supervisor. Ms. Apertola, is that the person that's gonna be in charge, kind of like fielding calls for the
The trees?
Yes.
Trees? Yes,
I can't
it,
speak, I don't know what's happening.
this is the point person in conjunction with the DPW superintendent.
I have a question about that ordinance or that resolution also.
Sure, go ahead.
So, thank you. This is an appointment, right? And it's a current employee
Yes.
of the DPW. And the resolution is for an annual salary of $92,200. What's the current salary?
His current salary is about, off the top of my head, around 7,000 less, because this position is at a foreman level and this person is a tree climber. So this elevates him to the managerial.
Thank you,
aspect.
thank you.
Any other questions about any of the resolutions? Is there any objection to moving the resolutions as a block? Seeing none, could I have a motion and second to move 24-172 through 24-188?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. This is open for debate. Is there debate, inquiry, or comment? Hearing none, this would be by acclamation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Hearing none, it is unanimous. If we could have the finance chair, Councilwoman Kaufman, move 24-189, payment of the bills.
Payment of bills at a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on May 30th, 2024. Be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $1,505,580.56. General capital fund, $118,935.97. Grant fund, $2,799.81. Trust other fund, $12,724.97. Developers escrow, $3,160. Recreation trust, $4,896.16. So moved.
Could I have a second from a member of the Finance Committee?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? It is unanimous. New business, River Edge Road Train Station Parking Lot, Ms. Apatella.
Yes, there was an inquiry about opening up the train station parking lot for non-residential commuter permits. It has been reviewed by the police department, and based on the memo that's in your agenda packet, they are recommending allowing approximately no more than 15 non-resident vehicles to park in the lot. Of course, it's first come, first serve. If the governing body wishes to move forward with this an ordinance needs to update the Borough Code, Chapter 400, Section 12. Non-residents parking was allowed, and it was repealed back in 2003. So it did exist at one point. So in addition to updating the ordinance to reflect allowing the non-residential parking, fees will have to be determined. The residential parking permit fee is currently $72 quarterly, annually $220, and the last increase for residential parking permits was in 2018.
So this is for us to consider. I think it's a good idea because the parking spaces are not being used. We have people not commuting every day of the week, and it seems a waste to allow these spaces to go unused. So if the council was so inclined, it would be moved to a first reading. It is open for debate, discussion, inquiry. Is there any?
I just have
Councilwoman
one.
Kinsella.
Ms. Everett, is this being put forth because there's interest from outside
I can answer that. Yes,
Okay.
I actually someone reached out to me and said, I need to use it. I live in New Milford, but I can't use it. Could it be considered? So then I sent it. I sent an email back to BA and asked her to inquire with the police department. And the police department, I think it would be fair to say, supports the idea.
Yes, and it was reviewed with the Traffic and Safety Committee members.
Yes. Oh, I left that up. Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But not more than 15 spots, right? Is
Well,
that
we
the
can always
recommendation?
change that, but that's what they thought, traffic and safety and the police department thought was a reasonable start. We can reduce it or increase it as needed. And of course, it takes just 2 council meetings to do that.
Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I would want there to be a cushion, right? Our residents are the priority. We don't
Yeah.
want to squeeze.
Yeah.
So hopefully the police department consider that.
They did, to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you. The finance committee, we did have some discussion about this. I think it's a good idea. It's a potential source of revenue. I have 2 questions. Would we want to charge like a slightly higher fee for out of borough residents? And my second question is, if we go forward with this, could we relook at it every year? Because I find more and more people are going back into the office.
Yeah, we might want to reduce it.
Yeah.
We want to play it by ear. With the fee structure, we could leave it up to the BA and the CFO as well as other experts from the police department to recommend, first of all, should we keep the rate at the 218 for residents, and non-residents should be slightly higher. I think we could leave that to them, and then if we didn't like it, we wouldn't move it when it comes to us.
Yeah, right now, I mean, what we're charging in borough residents, which I think is fine, is less than what a monthly commuter rail ticket is.
Yeah.
So just to give some perspective on what we might want to.
But remember, if you're getting the parking space, you are doing a monthly commuter rail ticket.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put a value on it.
Oh, yes, of course. I agree. No, I agree.
It's pretty cheap. That's what I'm saying. What we're charging residents is cheap. So let's think about what we want to charge out of borough residents.
Okay.
Thanks.
If the council is in agreement, we will then task the VA to come up with an ordinance with our council and with those experts, police department, traffic safety if necessary. And then an ordinance will be presented to us. And if we're not happy with the ordinance on the first reading, we can of course not move it and send it back. Or if we have enough time, I don't think we could amend at that moment, but you will get an advanced copy and perhaps then we could amend before it's published.
I'll read it carefully.
Yes, you do. I love that.
I'll make sure my spelling and punctuation is on
Correct.
point.
Yes, yes,
Great.
absolutely.
I just have one,
Oh, hold on. All in favor of moving this forward, please say, no, could I have a motion and second?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's been.
I just have one side topic related to this. When I was looking this up for the agenda packet, what was interesting is the borough clerk's office processes this, but it's always been on the books that the applications and permits were issued by the police department. So do you want to keep the language as is?
Well, no, I want the language to be in compliance with what we're doing. And also, in regards to Councilman Glass's comment, and I think council's general opinion, we should look at what's comparable parking lots. And we should be somewhere around there if we're with what we're doing. But we don't need to debate that right now. We'll leave that to you. All right, is that acceptable to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other new business? Is there any old business? Okay, could I have a motion from a member council to open to the public on any issue whatsoever?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any member present or virtually, please raise your hand if you're present and you'd like to ask a question, make a comment, please come forward at this time. Okay, we're gonna give our virtual a few more minutes. Minutes, not, I meant moments. I meant figuratively. Okay, I can have a motion second to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Okay, now, before we go to council comments, couple of things. We're gonna go into closed session, but we are not going to close the public portion of the meeting. We're going to simply suspend it. And then when we come back out, we may or may not take action. It is completely our option. In fact, Mr. Shedanian, just to underline that, I believe during the public sessions that we've had and our conversations on many occasions, the council has no obligation to issue any endorsement, even though we've had two presenters.
That is correct.
But we do have the option of issuing one endorsement by ordinance.
That is correct. As there's only one location.
That's right.
Viable.
Well, but I also think that we only gave one license
Correct.
in the ordinance. So I just wanted to underline that. So, so we'll see where we are at when we do that. We're up for council comments. Does any member of council wish to offer a comment about any of their liaisons or anything else before we go into closed session?
The only comment I have, Mayor, is
Sure.
that I just want to thank the two presenters, Sweet Spot and Neighborhood Greens, for their presentations. It was very thorough and very appreciated. Thank you.
I think everyone in the council would agree with that. I would also like to commend the farmer's market. We've had two shows, right? And it's going swimmingly.
Yes.
Yes, because it's a performance, it's a shopping opportunity.
Thank you to our VA for sending out Thursday morning nixels to remind everyone, because I think that's really helping.
I think that is too. I think it's not just a farmer's market. It's not just a place where you can hear some free, excellent music, but it's become a community event. And we saw that tonight.
We did.
Where a lot of people showed up and stayed. And there was a lot of people who made this possible, but Michelle, let's be honest, if it wasn't for you, I don't know that it would ever be the way it is. And we're very grateful for your industry and your Yeah, tenacity. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Thank you. I love doing it.
It's good.
It's a lot of fun.
And
Yes.
Steve.
And
Yes,
Steve, oh, yes.
The musical component.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know all, of course, our volunteer musical
And,
parts, and we'll
right,
have a lot of
a
different.
lot of volunteers from town, faculty meeting and Bogart Bros, yes, so,
Yes.
Is that what they're going by now? Brogard Bros instead
Yeah.
of Brogard Brothers?
yeah.
I thought they were Brogard Brothers. Okay, enough of this. It's almost 9 o'clock and we do need to go to closed session. Could I have, would it be a motion to suspend? Or a motion to,
It would just be a motion to go into close, though, the public portion of the meeting is still gonna be open because you haven't closed the meeting.
okay, could I have a motion to go into closed session? I'm sorry, resolution 24-190, attorney-client privilege, NJSA 10:4-12B7, deliberation on potential cannabis retail establishment presentations.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
We didn't know.
Okay, we're gonna go into closed session and I don't know how long it's gonna take, but we will be coming back. Like a motion and second to go back into open session.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Kaufman. Council President Montesano.
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Here.
Councilwoman Marl Larry is absent with prior notice. Councilman Benson.
Here.
Councilman Black.
Here.
Mayor Papaleo.
Here, is there a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I make a motion to authorize our attorney to create a resolution demonstrating proof of local support for Sweet Spot.
Is there a second?
Second.
It is open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Council President Montesano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella.
Yes.
Councilman Benson.
Yes.
Councilman Black.
Yes.
So what we have done for the public's benefit is we have authorized our attorney to create a resolution. And that resolution will be voted on June 10th or the nearest date after that. To offer a letter of local support for Sweet Spot at that time. All right. Is there any other council comments? Could I have a motion and second to adjourn the public meeting?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.